Hello, gang, and welcome to part 3 of the Macbeth talk through. Sorry it's been a bit delayed. Life got in the way, you know how it is. Too many tangerines. Right, the task. I'm not going to go through this again, obvious reasons, but remember all the time you're talking about loyalty. Right, we're looking at Act 1, Scene 7. Now then, again, your key question is why this is an important scene in terms of loyalty. We're looking at how Macbeth struggles with the idea of being disloyal to Duncan in this scene, and we're showing we're trying to show in your essay how Shakespeare shows his struggle in terms of language structure and techniques. So this is the scene to look at, read it through, find it in the play, have a look, do your research, look at your notes, and I'm focusing today on this first part to begin with. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. And there, of course, he's talking about the death of Duncan. So he's really struggling here with this idea that Lady Macbeth has come up with of killing Duncan while he stays at the castle. So, think points you might want to pick up in this scene. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. He basically is saying, if he has to do it, better he get it over with, and then he can forget it and move on. But of course that isn't the case. So it shows how loyal he is, that if he's going to do it, it's a bit like pulling a plaster off. You better do it quickly to get it done and get it out of the way. It's not something he's looking forward to. Also he says, but here upon this bank and shoal of time will jump the life to come. It's a reminder that, especially in Shakespeare's day, people viewed this life as temporary, and even today, a lot of people have faith that there's more to come after death, and this is what this quote really is referring to. It's a reminder that he's going to be judged in the afterlife. So this disloyalty isn't something that will end with his death here. It'll go on in the afterlife. And be a reminder of that he's going to be judged there. It does say we still have judgment here. So in other words, he could be caught up in justice on earth. He could, if they're caught, people would take a very dim view of it, obviously, and the disloyalty would be punishable by death for him. Sorry, just plug my computer in. That's what that noise is. Right, next one. We but teach bloody instructions which being taught return to plague the inventor. Here, Macbeth is saying that by doing this deed, he's teaching others what could be done as well, i.e. to him. So it would come back and haunt him. This is a reminder that, disloyalty breeds disloyalty. It would be the idea that by being disloyal to Duncan, by killing Duncan, he's teaching others what can be done. Bloody inventions which being taught return to plague the inventor. They return to plague the person who came up with it in the first place. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. There's this idea that by doing this deed, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth are poisoning themselves, and the idea that the chalice is something taken in communion, so it's got religious aspect to it, that they are in fact taken in sin, and that they're poisoning their own bodies. Okay, so there's some scenes from that early part which you might want to talk about. Sorry, not scenes, there's some quotes from the early part which you might want to talk about. He goes on then to discuss other reasons why he shouldn't kill Duncan. So let's have a look at those. Oh, this is flashy. It's all flying in. Right. He's here in double trust. First, I am his kinsman and his subject, both strong both against the deed. It's a reminder here that loyalty is tied up in trust. Kinsman, family. Subject, well, we know what it means to swear loyalty and be the subject of the king. You should be loyal. These are strong reasons against the deed, against being disloyal, against murdering him. As his host, Macbeth should, against the murderer, shut the door, not bear the knife himself. So in other words, he should be protecting him. It's his job to be loyal to Duncan. Besides this, Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office. He's been a good king. So he should be loyal to him in the fact that he's borne his kingship well, and that he's been clear, he's been a good leader. And this idea that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. The angels, his good qualities will almost cry out against this deed. And we get the idea that nature will lament the fact that Macbeth has been disloyal, that Duncan is dead, tears shall drown the wind, is quite a powerful metaphor. Okay, so basically Macbeth tracks through all the reasons why being disloyal to Duncan is difficult, and he's tracking through why he shouldn't kill Duncan, why you bring that back through to disloyalty. And part of the technique is that Shakespeare doesn't just come up with one reason, he comes up with a number. So it really shows how Macbeth is struggling with the disloyalty, the fact that he's listing these things using the various techniques as he discusses and thinks about this idea. Oh, got some more fancy things happening here. I think this is what's meant to have happened when I click through each one. Ooh. Ooh. Nice. Jumping about. Perhaps I'll get it right in the next one. Okay, so just return to the key questions. He struggles with the idea of being disloyal. He shows the struggle through listing a number of techniques. Thank you.